Good morning, everyone. For those of you just tuning in, welcome to the Center for Dialogue and Resolution's Be the Ripple Breakfast. We are Nick and Cynthia Byard, and we're thrilled to be here in support of the center. And in my job as Assistant Chief Equity Officer for the city, there's not a day that goes by that I don't use the tools and the resources and the skills that I've developed working with the center. And so I'm really pleased to be here with my wife Cynthia playing some music for you all to kick it off. And you know, in this, we all know that conflict resolution is hard in general, and it's especially hard now because we can't be together. So we're lucky to have the Center for Dialogue and Resolution as a resource in our community. And so we're grateful that you've tuned in. And we've started doing Saturday morning music concerts on Facebook as a way to kind of build community in this challenging time. And we'd invite you to join us on Saturday mornings, but we wanted to bring this to you in support of the Center for Dialogue and Resolution this morning as well. So we're gonna do one more song for you before the program starts. So hope you're settled in and hope you're having a great morning.
One more song at the end as well.
Together, my world's in disguise. It's like a fairyland tale that's come true. And when you look at me with those stars in your eyes, I could walk across Texas with you. Walks across Texas with you in my arms. Walks across Texas with you. Like a fairy ending, I'm lost in your charms. I could walk across Texas with you. Have just been gone. The moment that you come to view, and with your hand in mine, dear, I could dance on and on. I could waltz across Texas with you. Across Texas with you in my arms. Waltz across Texas with you. Like a story beginning to dance on and on. And I can waltz across Texas. I could waltz across Texas with you.
Jen?
Jen, you there?
Jen? Hang on, my eyes are so, just hang on, let me get my glasses on, 1 second.
Are you awake?
I am. Hey, we've got this event we got to get ready for. We got work to do.
We have oh, you're telling me, since I've been working from home, time has no meaning anymore. But you know what? I need breakfast. Did you get your box delivered?
I did. I've got it right here.
Oh my gosh, did you see what Soul to Soul did? They packed us some tasty items. Starbucks came through with coffee. Thank you, coffee gods. Ooh, look, there's a special treat in here. Oh, Mad Hat blended dialogue tea. Well, Jen, guess I was one of the lucky first 100 people to register.
Hey, focus, Amanda. We got to get this PowerPoint completed. We got work to do.
All right, go ahead. What do you got in mind?
All right. Well, we've got this fancy thing here and some fun interactivities to do for people to participate by phone at our event. So it's through text messaging. It's just one more way for our guests to feel like they can really be part of our event at a distance, even though we don't get to see them and they're on mute, just like we'll be when the event goes live, thank goodness. And anyway, so to keep it simple this morning, it's going to be texting only. You don't have to get any websites or downloads. This feature only works while we're doing this event, and you'll never have to worry about marketing texts or other stuff from this. So I'll say something like, hey, everyone, take out your cell phone right now. Got your cell phone, Amanda?
Okay, hang on. Let's see, toothbrush. No, that's not it. Hairbrush. Oh, phone, yes, got the phone.
All right, so I'll go through the instructions first and really slow the first time, and then when the event goes through, I'll let Marilise just remind everybody really quickly on the slides. So, and some folks may have already figured this out earlier from the looping PowerPoint that'll happen. So to join for the first time, you're gonna text the phrase agree 873 to 22333 one time to join on text messaging. And then once you join, don't click that link, Amanda. Whatever you do, don't click that powered by polleverywhere.com link. That'll take you to their website. Just stay in the chat function. Keep it super simple. So once we get started, it'll invite you and say you're there. And then every time that we have a poll or question up, all you have to do is just text your response. That's it. Just text and send. All right? Ready to try it out?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, so to text like an absolute pro, there's a couple easy tips. Be sure to underscore between words to keep phrases together. So like I've got bagels with lox. It's my favorite food. But it will show up on the word screen as one phrase together and those little underscores will go away. Or you can respond via emoji because we're high tech like that. No emoticons for the older folks out there in the 1990s. Those won't work. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's give it a try. So if I asked everyone, what's your favorite breakfast food? What do you think everyone would say, Amanda?
I'm gonna say pancakes.
Ah, pancakes, okay. I was thinking coffee.
Well, that's just a given, don't you think?
That's probably true. All right, so,
Ooh.
Hey Amanda,
Yeah.
did you type all those words in?
No, I just figured you did because, well, you're in your bunny slippers. You've been living in wherever you're living.
I think we got a problem here, Amanda. Maybe it's a glitch.
Well, it's always good to practice. As my mother always said, practice makes perfect. And, it's good we're doing this now because, May 14th is so far away. I mean, and now it's practically here tomorrow.
Wait. Did you say May 14th?
Yeah, like it says here on the website, the invitations, everything else.
But I thought this event was on Friday, Amanda. Everybody was talking about their plans on Friday.
No. It says right here on the invitation, May 14th. 14th. Got it right here.
So if this event is on May 14th, that's Thursday, as in today. I don't think there's enough bunny slippers in the world that are going to get us out of this mess if somebody doesn't rescue us right now. Elise, where are you?
Don't worry, Amanda, Jen, thank you for helping us figure out how to participate in this virtual breakfast. We invite every single one of you to kick back like Jen looks so comfy. We'll have a couple opportunities to use this wonderful tool. It's the only way we could think of how you could applaud and thank everyone who's sharing their stories today. The ripple effect. If each one of us choose to have commitment to approach differences, to approach difficulties, and actually have an open willingness to engage and to learn and share openly how conflict has impacted us, that's the way that we make ripples in our community towards resilience. So I welcome you to our Be the Ripple. We hope to inspire you today with stories. We hope you enjoy the breakfast. For some of you that was delivered, and from afar, we're so glad you were able to join us and we're able to bring the breakfast to you. Here in Tacoma, Washington, it's a rainy early morning, and we're glad you're all at home. Our plan originally was to start to have this at the Emerald Queen Casino on Puyallup lands. Unfortunately, coronavirus had a different idea. So therefore, I wanted to let you know that we have invited Annette Bryant, Tribal Councilwoman, to give us the opening and to thank in the graciousness that we're on Puyallup lands. So with that, I introduce and welcome Annette Bryant. And Logan, you're going to unmute. This is the joys of the virtual world, but we will get there.
Good day, honorable friends and relatives. Hail, CEO de Chud, Annette Bryan Tietze, Spiala Chud, Siab. Good day, honorable friends and relatives. My name is Annette Bryan. I am a councilwoman with the Puyallup Tribe of Indians. And I wanted to welcome you here to the Puyallup Tribal Homelands in person. However, due to the COVID and social distancing, I understand that you're having the breakfast on visually. So I'm sending you a virtual welcome. I am a class 21 American Leadership Forum graduate, and the American Leadership Forum class in 1994 created the Center for Dispute Resolution. Know that ALF is about strengthening community. We're experiencing economic hardship, we're experiencing fear and anxiousness, and it's very fortunate that we as Puyallup people have a very deep-rooted sense of community. We've been here since time immemorial, and we'll always be here on our traditional homelands. So I wanted to share some of the things that our community is doing right now to keep each other healthy and well, and how that sense of community is really coming in handy right now. I think it's important to really take a chance to lean in and dig deep about how we're handling ourselves during this crisis, what we can learn from each other, communicating the teachings that we have through this crisis, and our leadership will be better able to serve our communities by sharing this information. I'd like to share our experience as Puyallup people and just let you know that having an established community is helping us during this time of crisis, and I suggest we work towards proactively building community, not just in the tribe, but together as a whole and throughout Pierce County. I hope to talk to you in the future. Hoyaf Chud, I am finished.
And in any of you who have ever been on Zoom, you know the difficulty of unmuting yourself and getting ready. Nancy, are you able to give some ripples of gratitude for us?
I sure am. Am I coming? Good morning. I'm Nancy Tam Davis, President of the Board of Directors for the Center for Dialogue and Resolution. And on behalf of the board, I want to welcome you to breakfast this morning. I also want to express my deep appreciation to Annette Bryant, Puyallup Tribal Councilwoman, for her gracious welcome on behalf of the Puyallup tribe. This is particularly significant as she is a descendant of the Puyallups and the Salish, the first people in this beautiful part of the world. It's a board of directors who work behind the scenes, providing governance, guidance, advice, and advocacy for the work of the center. We do this because we passionately believe in what the center does, particularly today. As the stress of the pandemic is complicating our lives, it's a time when conflict rises from frustration, stress, loss, and fear. We believe the work of this center changes individual lives and communities. We believe in a future where all differences are resolved peacefully and respectfully. Next slide. We are not alone in our support. I want to give a special welcome to our sponsors today. Gordon Thomas Honeywell, Government Affairs, Commencement Bank, Lauren Adler, the Bamford Foundation, the L.T. Murray Foundation. A special thank you to Mayor Victoria Woodards and all of our table hosts, volunteers, mediators, elected officials, staff, and 717. Thanks, 717 club members. Thank you for coming to breakfast with us. Marilise.
Thank you, Nancy. And thank you, Annette, for graciously opening and reminding us about community. Since 1994, the center has been, next slide, please. The center has been mediating, and that is the core business that we do as mediators. We have the mediators bring the parties to the table as impartial and confidential space to be able to resolve differences and have a productive dialogue. Our capable staff prepare the parties to come and share their perspective on how conflict has impacted them, what are their core needs that need to be resolved, and to mutually reach agreement. Since March, we have been pivoting to virtual, to learning how to do this that we're showing with you today. This virtual reality, we have since the end of March held mediations over the telephone, and that's difficult. It's hard for people to be vulnerable. The Zoom has offered a possibility of being able to engage, and you can see on the slide some basic numbers from 2019 when we were fully open to the public. Nearly 12,000 members of our community use the conflict resolution services of the center. That means 211 volunteers actually donated over 2,500 hours. We offer different services. For those of you who are judges or members of the court, you understand that what we do is pre-trial. Something might be filed at the court, but pre-trial, the parties still have a chance to resolve. At our large and comfortable, allowing for distancing center, we host the small claims mediations. We also have settlement conferences. Facilitative mediations are where both parties are in the room at the same time. And whatever the mediation service, we recognize there's two byproducts of a mediation process. One is the conflict at hand has been solved, and the other one is that the parties have actually learned by modeling and by experiencing new ways to communicate. Arguing is not bad. Having differences is not bad. Actually, conflicts are not bad. What it is how we approach them. So we as the board and staff understand that in these times where we have to, the virus is amongst us, we have to isolate from the virus if we're going to stay alive. We need to get creative about how we are going to connect socially, how we're going to interact. And sometimes the isolation increases the conflicts. Families are at home and the workplace have collided. There's issues of landlord-tenant after the moratorium. How are we going to hold those conversations about unpaid rent? There's other businesses, conflicts, and all of those. We want you to know that we are open and we're ready to serve our community in these crucial moments. Since the center was first, and I wanted to thank all of the mediators. You see some of them with their happy faces, and there's 146 more than those amazing faces. Please raise your cup and thank these amazing mediators who are peacemakers in our community. And we salute you, mediators, and thank you for your years of service and your continued commitment to learn this new way of interacting. Another way that we have engaged with the community is in schools. Since the beginning of the center, we have been in schools partnering with them and finding ways to do what is referred to as restorative practices. What's a restorative practice? It really is in the classroom, the teacher and the students creating a community that's based upon understanding what are the expectations from one another, and then building the skills to live up to those expectations, and the amazing attitude and values that are necessary, that when one of the community stumbles and is not able to show up as their best self, because as we all know, times are tough, that there is that attitude of empathy and willingness to help that person struggle and come back into the community. This impacts the classroom and creates a community. This impacts the whole school building, led often by the principal and the staff, but it's really the students who are able to embrace this and see this is the way to engage and allow for not discipline, but accountability and hopefully inclusion. Instead of when somebody's in trouble, we include them because they're in struggle. We have many shining examples, and today we have a wonderful guest who is with us from the Bethel Middle School, who for many years has been finding creative ways to create a community of learning in their school. And in fall of this year, they engaged what's referred to as restorative practices with circles, which is community building, and to be able to avoid excluding students, but helping them struggle through it. And our guest today, Lisa Whitmire, is the counselor and the teacher who is here on behalf of all of Bethel. She really represents everyone. We were lucky a week before the governor, or excuse me, I guess it was the office of superintendent, closed the schools. We were actually with those amazing human beings who are the teachers, working with them to learn some of the best practices for how to work in restorative circles. We now invite you to sit back and listen to the experience that Lisa has to share with her community at Bethel Middle School. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us this early morning.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's nice to see everyone. Again, my name is Lisa Whitmire, and I'm the assistant principal at Bethel Middle School. And what I plan to share with you today, just briefly, is the work we've done with our staff, within our classrooms, within our discipline model, and then the beginnings of the effects of our work, both prior to the COVID closure and then since the closure has happened. So in the summer, this past year, our staff made the decision to have a belief statement in solidarity that we believe that all students have the ability and desire to be academically and socially successful. And then we knew that we had to have actions that matched our words, that we would not give up on kids, and we believed in every one of them to show up every day and do their best. So we started investigating restorative circles and restorative practices. And so we started every single staff meeting this year and every professional development day with circles with our group of teachers and support staff to start to teach them about these practices. Our most in-depth circles were with Mary-Lisa and Jennifer, as she mentioned at the professional development day just prior to closure, and it was super impactful. I just had a meeting the other day where it was brought up once again, the impact that had on some of our teachers. And so we hope to continue this partnership because we know our work has only just begun with these practices. As part of our work with staff, we have asked teachers to at least begin once a week their class with getting to know you circles to build community and to set classroom norms for how circles operate. All of our teachers have done at least that, and some have taken it much further to make it a part of their daily practice. Topics can revolve around academic reflections, building classroom community, and in some cases even repairing situations that interrupted the harmony during that class period. So it's been really inspiring to see. As part of our discipline practices, we are shifting from removing students to class to have restorative conversations in the environment where the infraction or the discord took place. In these situations, the teacher calls a line that rings at 9 different phones, and so someone will always respond. That is an administrator, a counselor, or a social worker. And that this moment, the teacher can then step aside and have a restorative conversation with the student or students who feel that they perceive at least that something is not right in the situation. So the teacher can request the restorative conversation, the student or students can request it, but either way they come to an agreement about how to move forward positively. The conversation ends, and then everyone returns back to the classroom rather than being excluded. In some situations, the teacher's not able to have the conversation, and then that's where we step in, have the conversation, leave notes, and then the teacher follows up. An effect that we were seeing take place prior to closure was that we had a record number of students who were willing to mediate situations as opposed to fight or go out on suspension, which is really huge in a school of 800 kids who I would say the majority of them are highly impacted by trauma. Not going to fists or hateful words is huge, and the fact that they're asking for mediation is big. So we have a mediation contract where each party agrees to the cause of the conflict, what they will do to try and repair the harm, and then how they will prevent such a conflict occurring in the future. And then they sign this contract. Doesn't necessarily lead to friendship, but all people involved are allowed to see alternative perspectives, and also then they can respect the boundaries of others, even if they don't necessarily agree. A larger ripple is that we've had actually parents and families asking to get together to solve problems that are occurring in their neighborhoods. I even had one mom ask to have a circle of moms with daughters watching so that they can help model for their daughters how to resolve this ongoing girl drama. Unfortunately, this took place like 2 days before closure, and we didn't get to make that happen. And then we were kind of scrambling, unfortunately. Now that we're in a distance learning model, I believe the relationships that we started to forge are opening doors of trust in these really uncertain times, especially for our students in poverty. Some of our teachers are using their advisory class as a way to conduct virtual circles during distance learning. Some are giving surveys with circle type questions, and then they're sharing the results in graphic forms and asking students to reflect in kind of a chat room type setting. Students are reaching out to teachers, our librarian, our iPad clerk, social workers, counselors, and us as administrators for all sorts of needs, including mental health issues, which at one point was pretty taboo. And so now we've even had to create a system for students who can request services online and get a call back within 24 hours. And then we also have a protocol for students in crisis. And then some of our teachers and staff are holding virtual social group meetings as a further support. So I don't want to ramble on too long, but to this point, our effect is still small. But I just want to say, I think our pebble has been cast into the pond, and we've only just started to see the first of the ripples that we will have in our community.
Lisa, thank you so much. And I know that Julie appreciates that you're the one that got up early with us, but the stories you tell and being at your school are so powerful. And to all of you who just heard this story, we were trying to find ways, hard to applaud. You can imagine being in a room with 200 people, we would have all given an amazing applause to Lisa. One of the ways that we thought to be able to engage and to be able to applaud is for us to use these polls. So if you've already signed on, you have the poll open, and you can go ahead and text in your one-word answer to this question. For those of you still figuring out the technology, pull out your phone, and the address that you're going to text to is 22333. Once you've got that up in the 2, then you're going to write the phrase agree 873 and hit enter. Once you've done that, you are now in the poll. Don't go to the website, and type in the word or the idea or the skill that you believe our kids need to build our new normal. You've just heard amazing words of Bethel Middle School. What are the key skills, tools, traits that our kids need to build our new normal, and that we can look to them as our teachers to be able to understand how to navigate this? So the poll is open right now. We're going to look at your answers, and I'm actually going to take a few seconds of silence to listen, to read, and allow each of you to absorb. Imagine you're in a room of 200 and we're shouting out and we're talking. Please look and enjoy what are the responses to this poll. And now all of us get to learn from these amazing leaders in our community. These young people of Bethel have so much to teach us. These young people in your home have so much to teach you. Please embrace the empathy, the love, the patience, the investment in relationships and building trust and learning how to socialize, and embrace those. And with that, we make a ripple going forward. During these tough times where the virus exists, and it will exist as we begin to come together, we have to isolate, and yet to isolate ourselves from the virus. And yet, how do we connect? And we've looked for some stories to show you how community has been creative in connecting. We heard the stories of the school, and today I bring a story of Rosalind Bell, who is known in our community as an amazing artist, an amazing community partner in the Race and Pedagogy initiative at UPS. Also a playwright who has brought creative ways to understand and really understand what was the tragedy and the trauma provoked by Hurricane Katrina through her New Orleans monologues. She felt the need to reach out and create community online, and she will tell that story on Facebook. And I have that story with so many other friends. We've got Nick doing it. We have the Mug Club doing it. I have to tell you that as a member of her small group of people, I would end the day, it was long days of learning Zoom and learning other things, and the wash of connection when I would read through the feed of all the comments during the day and I would participate. It was amazing how cathartic finding new ways to connect. And so I bring to you the story of Rosalind Bell, who is going to share with us her Facebook creation of community.
Hi everybody, we're going to talk about today the alphabet game. My name is Rosalind Bell, live in Tacoma, Washington, and on March 23rd on Facebook I started something called the alphabet game. But about a week before then I'd been mulling it about in my head about I needed to do something other than watch the news. March 23rd, we were in the big throes of death everywhere, and there's nothing we can do. We're doomed, or it just felt like that. The alphabet game, let me explain. Every day I asked people to give their favorite word from a particular letter. And I started off with A, but I had a surprise for them on the second day. I didn't go to B. I skipped around, so nobody knew what was coming next. And that was part of probably the allure of it. No one knew what was coming next. So by 10 a.m., if I didn't post, there were people like Julie, Carl, Bill, and etc. You know who you were. And I had very few rules. One was that you'd post one word, but no, renegades abounded. Every day there's somebody breaking the rules. Laurie, Ginger, you know who you are. So in the midst of all this fun and frivolity, people joining in, sometimes we had 240 comments. I've never had that on anything on Facebook in the 10 years I've been. So this ripple effect was real. One day I was really, really late and didn't want to post at all because in the midst of all this fun, COVID-19 entered our lives with the death of a cousin, a 59-year-old cousin who had gone to DC at the end of March, and 2 weeks later was dead. The alphabet community came through with condolences, and we were able to the next day get back to it, but we no matter what, we're still part of what's going on in this world today. I had the alphabet game born March 23rd, and it died April 17th, our last day, with V's. One thing that happened was Bill introduced Monica to, it was Michelle, to the Oxford dictionary. She combined two words and made up a word, and with a corresponding definition. And Bill suggested that she submit it to the Oxford dictionary, and she did submit it. So alliances were made all over the place. We had people like Carl, whose thing became 2 or 3 letters every day, no matter the word, no matter the letter. 2 letters or 3 letters, that was the extent of his word. So we looked forward to that. There was Stell with her biting, humorous pics to bolster her epic castrations of your president. I mean, she was right on it, her word and her pictures. We looked forward to that. There was Kiara with her bad words. We looked forward to her bad words. I know there are no bad words, but she found them. She just let it rip. The community born of the moment we found ourselves in was what it was. And I was thrilled to be a part of something where people looked forward to it. And there were comments like, I'm more anxious than I should be about where is she with the letter today? So for that ripple effect, for going, let me say this. There were moments before I did it that I said, this is silly. Who's gonna pay attention to this? So I guess my ending words would be, everybody pays attention to something, and we should all let go of fear. If I had not posted that, the joy that we brought, all of us, to each other for those 26 days would be missing. Yeah, we wouldn't know it was missing, but our heart would. Thank you, Mary-Lise, for this opportunity. Everybody, word up.
Thank you, Roslyn. Each of you have found creative ways to connect over this distance. Each of us have stories that are important to be able to share on how are we connecting with one another. And the center has been invited about 5 years ago to engage with the community to train in conflict resolution, facilitate learning circles as people began, as the Pierce County actually changed its strategy on how to address instability of homelessness. And part of that was our ability to take our mediation skills into difficult, really difficult conversations and train up a group of people to be facilitators. And since that time, we've had our community approach us and ask for, we're a team that just can't wrestle with a problem and we need some help, to a workplace that has hostility that has been so profound it actually has traumatized people, and how to restore, use the restorative circles to be able to restore that. And other groups that they're such diverse stakeholders. There are so different ways to approach, and we need to hear those different and diverse voices. Yet it's so easy to sort of create a chaos that our facilitators walk in, create and design a process specific for the group and what they want to, what is the outcome. And through the facilitation process, the group learns from how differently they look at things and how to work together productively. We call that the Community Facilitation Program. And since we've gone virtual, we want you all to know we are there for you. We have offered a variety of different powerful experiences using Zoom to restore relationships, to explore how to overcome some of the barriers of this social distancing and how to connect and how to move forward. And then also in these troubling times, we've got to get creative and find new ways to be able to approach it. As a result of that, today the staff all came together and said, who would be the person that would most be able to describe what is the impact on our community of taking our tools and our skills out of the mediation room into the community? And so it is with amazing joy and excitement and passion that I share Delmar Algie from Catholic Community Services, who's here to share his experience in the workplace as an individual who embraced these skills, went through every training we had possible, as a supervisor helps his staff engage and interact, and then the core aspect of their services is actually having a one-on-one conversation in a humane way, trauma-informed, with the human being who is experiencing unstable shelter, and how to help them self-determine what is the best path forward. Delmar, I thank you so much for waking up this morning and saying yes to us. We look forward to hearing your story.
Thank you so much, Mary-Lise. I truly appreciate being with everyone this morning. So amongst the hot topics in America, homelessness is one that seems to have caught everyone's attention. Perhaps this is due to the ever-changing economy, the rise of Tacoma's housing market, or maybe just because people genuinely empathize with struggling human beings who are down on their luck. Regardless, not a day goes by in which news outlets aren't publicizing a story of concern. Earlier this week, I asked a group of friends to provide the first adjective that comes to mind when thinking of a homeless individual. Several descriptive words came up. Durable, creative, resourceful, practical, and resilient were a few to name. Resilience is the term that I would like to elaborate on. Ironically, it's a theme that highlights our gathering this morning. Each of us have it, but what does it really look like? Next slide. A few years ago, an article was written in the Seattle Times that highlighted homeless diversion in Pierce County. It spoke about a personal journey of Trevon Wilkins. Mr. Wilkins presented much like you and I. He was educated, had gainful employment as a security guard, enjoyed many meaningful friendships, and maintained an unparalleled support system. The only difference between us and him was that for years, when Mr. Wilkins got off of work, he ate his meals, laughed, cried, and laid his head to sleep every night from his car. Imagine always sleeping behind the Tacoma Dome in fear. You wonder what will happen if you are discovered by colleagues, family, friends, police, or even a robber. Trevon was and remains as someone's father, son, brother, and friend. He's a human being that loves and cares for special people in his life, just like we do. Now imagine taking his circumstance and adding a young daughter who needs a major surgery to live. This is a hard reality for anyone. And this is Trevon Wilkins' story. After walking in a cloud of fear and stress for years, he certainly never stopped in the moment to think that he was resilient. All Mr. Wilkins thought about was how he owed a landlord, which would stop him from realistically seeking a home. It was a simple conversation that got him back on track, one that CDR prides itself in teaching homeless professionals in Pierce County how to facilitate. Next slide. Or what about Nalani and Larry, a couple who struggled to get custody of their children due to them having to live life in the car after both lost their jobs? Imagine having to give up your kids just because you're experiencing one of the worst times of your life. You don't want any handouts to get back on track. All you need is a ripple effect to happen. A pair of work boots and suddenly you're back on your feet. With Trevon, Nalani, and Larry, it was during creative housing conversations when they realized how resilient they were. Such toughness led to their housing stability that remains intact to this day. At the time, I was the professional who met with both households, and the place where I developed the appropriate skills to help was at CDR. Fast forwarding to current times, while the shutdown of the economy has inconvenienced us all, it's also put a target on homeless agencies to help even more. In an era where we keep hearing about social distancing, not touching other humans, and ultimately trusting no one, it seems that one day we all return from work only to find ourselves in the twilight zone. We've always been taught to express ourselves with hugs and handshakes, kisses on the cheek, and high fives, but not in these times. The ripple effects of COVID-19 has altered how we physically do business with one another. But CDR has changed how we in homeless services communicate, even when scientists and experts say that we can't be in the same room with the likes of Trevon, Larry, and Nelani. My deceased grandfather once said to each of his grandchildren, when life smacked us across the face, one monkey don't stop, no show. COVID-19 happens to be a 10-foot tall monkey with a bulletproof vest on, but thank God for the indestructibility of powerful mediation-like skills that are proving to be pandemic proof. In 2019, 1,956 homeless people in our community were diverted from our overtaxed system and found places to live. They did this after having professional conversations in which their resilience was rediscovered and put on the table. That's right, there were 1,956 Nelanis out there. That is a number that wows professionals all across America. But little do they know that the skill development to help these irrepressible individuals began at the Center for Dialogue and Resolution. So today, we continue to care for our brothers and sisters without homes while using the skills that CDR have taught us. Now, we just do it using technology. Since we began working from home in mid-March, 134 people have discovered solace and comfort in finding places to call home. They're safe from the vulnerabilities that come with being homeless and even almost inevitable exposure to that 10-foot tall monkey named COVID-19. Thank you, Center for Dialogue and Resolution. Your ripple in the community has unlocked a wave of resilience amongst those that didn't even know that they had it in them. Friends, will you join me in keeping the ripple going with a gift that is acceptable for you and your household? You see, when a large ripple forms, it creates a wave. When multiple waves come together, they create an ocean. Wouldn't it be marvelous if right now, here on this remarkable morning, together we made our very own ocean? Wouldn't it be wonderful if we lived in a world where the very communication that changes lives and is readily available to those that need it the most? Proven by the stories that we've heard today, it's quite amazing how conversations can help put someone back on track with their personal journey towards growth and success. By giving a gift to the Center for Dialogue and Resolution, this remarkable group of professionals will be able to provide assistances to those that need it, yet can't afford it. As the staff has been tasked with delivering more services while people in need have less money, your ripple can carry the momentum that generates a wave. Our goal today is to raise $60,000, which is what it takes to make sure that everyone who needs services gets them. CDR is also prepared to process your contribution on a monthly basis. Your $25 or more will provide a sustainable monthly income that we can count on in these ever-changing times. Additionally, any amount that you can give will help us to continue to keep the ripple effects of mediation, solutions, and peaceful conversations moving in our great community. If we don't care for our neighbors, who will? You have an opportunity to partner with us. Think of Trevon and his daughter, Nelani, Larry, and their 3 children. If we all work together, we can create an ocean out of your many ripples. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Delmar. That was inspiring to hear from you. And thank you, every single one of you who woke up this morning. We need you. The ripples, the waves are going to keep us afloat and allow us to move on and not let the barrier of a client fee mean someone can't get the mediation services. That the limitations of the economic reality we are in right now and that we're all feeling will mean that we can't offer those services to people. The Center for Dialogue needs you, and the website is centerforresolution.org. And Delmar, amazing, the story that you've got. I kind of got teared up listening to you. Thank you all for being part of the Ripple. We're hoping to inspire you all, obviously to give, because that's what we need, but also we need you to be giving ripples. We need you to be able to work towards changing how we confront this amazing thing. What is it, the monkey that he talked about of COVID? So part of that is now also to allow each one of you to think about, as a result of this morning's conversation, hopefully inspiration, what is it that you are going to do to help build ripples in the future? Can you